I know who our corners are. I know who's going to play safety. I know who's going to play linebacker. It's going to be those 4 seniors. Like the D line's pretty figured out. Maybe some of the freshmen are able to push for some PT and like O-line. It's like, okay, let's get. I trust Bostad. I know they're young behind the one deep, but Ojani was able to start every playoff game and did just fine as a redshirt freshman. Like with Indiana, there's just so little questions to be answered where it's like the question is how many more games in a row can they win is really the only question that can be discussed about this team.
It's funny because I'm going to contradict everything you just said because I do actually think there are some questions for this Indiana Hoosiers team, fun ones and not like difficult in the way where like they're going to maybe make or break the way the season goes, but it's just like speculation type questions where like there is a cornerback 2 competition right now between AJ Harris and Rylan Gandy. And by all accounts, it's neck and neck. And like we've talked about through text a couple different times, like to be able to sit in the stadium and just watch those 2 guys go at it would be just the most high level form of like competitive practicing, especially with the way Indiana practices. What else?
Those guys are probably going to both play. Like those guys are going to be at NFL training camps in 2027. Both of them. That's what's crazy about the whole thing. It's not like is this guy like they're both very good. It's just like who's gonna play more. I don't know. And like I said before, I think that's a competition that's gonna just go through the season. Like I think that's really just gonna be like pretty revolving, pretty open at all times, and it's really gonna be like who's hot. And that's a luxury to have when it's at that level where it's like both answers are correct.
Yeah.
Well, like what's the answer? You know, it's interesting.
The other point of contention or place of competition where we're seeing different guys rotate in, and I'm going to go out and make this prediction. I think Drew Evans is going to end up being the starting center, and I believe it's only going to end up being because Bray Lynch has been limited in spring with he's dealing with he had to like clean something up in one of the legs after the season. Then there's something with the other, whatever Sig was saying in the presser the other day. But Drew Evans, at least in all the videos that I've been seeing in the last week and during the scrimmage that they had last Saturday, was taking all the center reps. Evans was at center. Brunner was at left guard, and for the plays that I saw Lynch on the field, he was at right guard. And so my theory after seeing this for the last week is that because Lynch isn't able to be on the field taking or getting center reps, Drew Evans is going to end up taking all these reps in the spring, and he's going to just end up in that position. You take Joe Brunner, who's had all of his career starts at left guard, and you put him at left guard, and all of a sudden Drew Evans is your center. Your right guard doesn't change. Your right tackle doesn't change. You take plug and play arguably the best portal left guard in the country. And then you have the Big Ten offensive lineman of the year, Carter Smith, playing left tackle. And all of a sudden that's a really, really dangerous offensive line. And, but I like the way Drew Evans has looked at center. I think he's really intelligent. I like it. I just like the moxie that he plays with. And also Indiana doesn't lose when he plays.
It's true. They're undefeated with Drew Evans. They have not lost.
So if I were going to put odds, Alec Keyser's own odds on who's going to be the center for Indiana, I got Drew Evans plus 200, Bray Lynch plus 350.
That sounds right. And honestly, I think you made fantastic points actually there. It's not really something I've been thinking about because we knew what the 5 were. Like we knew which 5 were going to be in there, and it's pretty assumed that Johnny's going to be right tackle and Carter Smith's going to be guard. I guess the only real speculation there was always like who's going to play center. I think Bray Lynch with his versatility made a lot of sense there. I feel like he's dropped a few pounds based on the things, but it's like I feel like he can put that back on pretty quickly. I feel like it might be an injury thing. I think he made a ton of Drew Evans having those reps at center, which is like a position where you're definitely going to need a lot more reps. I think it's almost like a win-win for everyone where Bronner's going to play his natural position of left guard. Bray Lynch has been the right guard for the past 2 seasons. And Drew Evans, we figured out with him at center. I feel like it creates the most continuity where it's like originally we were thinking Brunner at right guard, Bray Lynch at center, and Drew Evans at his natural position at left guard. All of a sudden, Drew Evans at center makes things brings a lot more continuity to the individual pieces on that O-line. And I think that might be the solution. I might have to update my depth chart right now.
So that's kind of what I've been looking at for the offensive line. And then we got the standard. I speculated last week. I hoped that Indiana was going to bring back the standard. We got the standard episode 2. It was a Tyler Morris showcase, which was awesome. If you haven't seen that, the production team is doing an unbelievable job. And Landino as well. Listening to Landino speak is just, that dude's awesome. And like we can get into like who you think the leaders on this football team are, but I just like Tyreek Tucker and Bones Jones setting the standard and then everybody kind of following underneath. But Mario Landino being one of those guys that the younger players are looking up to now. And like Blake Smythe was kind of like right behind him and all the drills, kind of picking his brain after each thing. It's just, there's a lot of really good like human beings in this football program that are also really good football players. And that's how you build and sustain a winning culture.
Yeah, it's special to see kind of how that. I'm glad they're giving us like insight on it. It's great content. Yeah, it's cool. Like everything that we've been speculating is like happening, right? Like all the veteran guys, like we're bringing in 18 guys that have been in this program for 2 years now. Now they're the leaders of this team, and there's at least one in every single room, and they're always someone that you can look toward for guidance to help the younger guys kind of follow suit and understand, what's going on. And just, yeah, love the idea of like Blake Smythe, who's probably the lowest rated D tackle of the 4 true freshmen that are coming in, just in the ear of Mario Landino at all times. Like, right? Like, you just love to see that. And I'm sure all the other kids are doing the same thing, picking guys' brains. Like Tyreek Tucker's there for these D tackles. Like, that's just the D tackles. Like, we're talking about the D ends. We're in Dukeway and Quentin Clark have been there for a while. So, like, helping the vets and the younger guys kind of get caught up to speed. You have those guys in the room, and it just spreads like wildfire throughout it. And just like these guys seem so focused, and like they keep talking about, like, it's funny because it's like when you say it enough, you almost believe it yourself, right? Like, you remember in 2024, like they're always talking about how, this season's, a new year, right? Because that's what Signetti's been saying. Like, this year's a new year, right? No one's talking about 2020. I don't know if that's true or not. Like, obviously they're saying it, but as you keep saying it, like, it just becomes more and more real. Like, I remember Aiden Fisher, like, covering it in 2024, where they're like talking about how we're going to be playing 15, 16 games. And then come to find out, you ask all these guys after they won the national title 2 years later, they're like, I had no idea we were going to win the national. Like, I had no idea that was going to happen, honestly. But they were saying it, they were talking about it, and then it happened. Like, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and these guys are just following suit. And it's like, he's a mad scientist, this Signetti guy. Like, it's crazy to see. Can't wait to write his